Welcome back to Southern Life. On today's video, I'm going to be giving you a one-year review of owning a 23 GMC Sierra. We are now at 33,000 miles with this pickup truck, and we've owned it for roughly 1 year. So I'm going to be giving you a review about owning this pickup truck. Now, this truck comes with a 2.7 engine, and I know that's a little bit of an issue for some people that it's not a V8. So for a quick overview, we're talking about a 2023 GMC Sierra with 33,000 miles. It has a 2.7 engine. The truck does have a 2-inch leveling kit, and what that does is it raises the front by 2 inches higher than factory. It also has painted badges and a few extra details that do not come from factory, so you're not looking at a truck that's stock. The dealership sold me this truck with Toyo tires and a few extra accessories that brought the price tag to an unreal number. The only real altercation that I have done to the pickup truck is this truck bed cover here. And this truck bed cover brought me a price tag totaling $1,500 installed. That's the brand right there. And this is one of those tri-folding bed covers. And I have to say that that cover is probably the best money I've ever spent on a vehicle. If you have a truck and you've considered getting that bed cover, I definitely recommend it. It really makes a difference. One of the many upgrades that this truck has that are not from factory are the cat skin red seats. However, in less than a year, you can already start to see how they are faded, and the driver's seat is in even worse condition than this. Now, the dealership for $2,000 installed these seats for me, $2,000 extra, to make all my seats red leather. However, I find that the quality of these cat skins is very much inferior. I mean, we're talking with 33,000 miles already, this seat is like this, and the driver's seat is in even worse condition. Now, one of the most frustrating things about this pickup truck has been dealing with anything related to service, because I bought it from a place called Conley Buick in Bradenton, Florida, and these people have been a complete nightmare to work with. If there's one thing I would change, it would be not buying a pickup truck from a small dealership like this. I should have really bought it from a larger dealership. They've been a nightmare to work with. Within the dealership, they have this thing called 662 Customs, and they did the lift kit and they did all the other little extra details that the truck comes with at a phenomenal price, by the way, but it's being financed. And I will say that the lift kit has been really good. The tires have worn evenly. These are Toyo tires, and they're now at 33,000 miles, and they are evenly worn. They still have a lot of thread left, so I will say that if you're buying tires for a pickup truck, these Toyo tires are absolutely worth the extra money. For me, I think they have been phenomenal, and I would absolutely recommend Toyo tires if you're buying pickup truck tires. At 33,000 miles, look at how much thread is left and the condition that these tires are still in. That's not bad for 33,000 miles, so I definitely recommend Toyo tires. These are 33 by 12 by 20. Now, eventually, I would like to put 24s on it. The reason it hasn't happened yet is because I still owe a crap load of money on this pickup truck. And considering how much money I owe on this truck, it really doesn't make sense for me to continue getting into more money in it. I would like to see this truck eventually on 24s and with a sound system that's improved. But like I said, I owe a lot of money on this pickup truck. Considering how much money I owe on this truck, it doesn't really make sense to continue throwing money at it. But if it were up to me, it would be on 24s. Maybe when these tires are bald and it's time to get new tires, I'll get the rims as well. But in the meantime, we're going to keep it on stocks at least until these tires need to be replaced. Now, the back seats don't look too bad. There is a stain here. I don't know how I got there, but there is a stain that I haven't been able to remove. But overall, you don't really use your back seats so much that it's a problem. But you can start to see like these indentures where people have set. So it really, these cat skins, they're really not the highest quality. But I will tell you that everybody is just blown away by the red seats, how cool it looks. So it's one of those things where it's a cool factor, but it's not a practical factor. And they certainly don't seem like they last worth of crap. But nonetheless, everybody, when they see these red seats on this truck, they're just blown away by how cool it is. So it's one of those things where it looks really cool, but it isn't ideal. Here is the seat for the driver's side. You can see here how bad it is and how it's coming apart. So these cat skin seats, I wouldn't recommend them for you. They're starting to wear away all throughout, and it's really a disappointment because, you know, it looks so cool. Now, there is a 1-year warranty on these seats. Now, the dealership has been a nightmare. Everything that's warranty related, everything that's service related, this dealership has been a nightmare to work. At one point, the entire dash stopped working at only 5,000 miles. And the dealership tried to say that it was my fault. I hadn't even made my first car payment on this truck, and already the whole dash had turned off. And it was a common problem for these trucks. However, the dealership tried to say that it was somehow my fault for installing a non-GM approved phone charger, which is a load of crap, and they were trying to blame me for it. So imagine you pay $65,000 for a new truck, and the first thing that breaks before the first oil change, this thing is already back in service. And recently, it should have been back in service again, except for I called OnStar. You have OnStar up here. You click on OnStar, and the OnStar should have taken care of fixing the truck. However, instead of sending, what happened was, again, the truck was turned off. The pickup truck would not start. It was turned off, but the air conditioner was running, and so was the lights, and you couldn't turn off the air conditioner, couldn't turn off the lights. I don't know what made it trip out. I believe it's possible that I might have walked away from the truck while it was on with the key. So regardless, imagine the entire panel just completely out of control. The air conditioner on, the battery's on, until eventually I thought it was going to kill the battery. So I called OnStar to have it taken back to the dealership so they could fix it. And what they did is that they sent out, are you ready to hear this? A locksmith. Yes, OnStar sent a locksmith. So I've dealt with the dealership being horrible for services and trying to make excuses not to fix things. But it hasn't just been the dealership. It's been, you know, I try to bypass the dealership with this last problem I had. And again, this is all under 33,000 miles. And this is the second time it's had electrical problems. So I try to take it back to the dealership, you know, through GM this time, because the first time I went to the dealership and they tried to blame me for it. But I had just bought the truck, and I told them, if you guys don't fix this, I'm just going to leave the truck here. It's going to be your problem. So now this second time around, I try to bypass the dealership and go through General Motors, and General Motors wasn't any better with their whole OnStar thing. They sent out a locksmith who came out after waiting for 2 hours to tell me, well, I'm actually just a locksmith, so if you're not locked out, I can't help you. But why would GM OnStar send a locksmith out simply to handle a problem that's electrical, you know? And they promised me that it would be a tow truck, and if the tow truck couldn't start it, then they could take it to the dealership. But it was all a lie. So if, OnStar lied to me. OnStar practically lied to me. They told me that they were going to send a tow truck out, and the tow truck driver, if he couldn't get the truck to start, he would take it to the dealership in a tow truck. But in reality, the only thing they actually brought out was a locksmith who told me I'm a locksmith. So that was kind of shady on their part, and I'm not surprised. I think it isn't so much the frustration of the fact that the truck's had 2 electrical problems that's frustrated me. What's really frustrated me, and the reason why I think I'm never, you know, and I love General Motors. I've had GM trucks since I was just a young kid, and I never thought I would ever own a brand new one. You know, I had the 1500s when I was just a little kid, you know. You pick them up for $500, $2,000. I always had GM trucks. I never thought I would have a brand new 0-mile red 4x4 GMC truck. I never thought that I would own a vehicle this expensive, you know. I started off with these trucks when I was just a kid. So my loyalty to these trucks is the fact that I've always had them since I was little. And, you know, it really hurts to have to switch over to Toyota or Ford. But, you know, GM, it isn't so much the product. It's the fact that, okay, if I have an electrical problem, why would you lie to me? Tell me you're going to send a tow truck out and actually send out a locksmith to blow me off. And, you know, the dealership has done it to me already. So I've had this problem with the dealership not working for services. And I have a 100,000 mile warranty. I paid like almost $3,400, I believe, for a 100,000 mile warranty. So I paid thousands of dollars for a 100,000 mile warranty. I bought the warranties. Why am I having this problem? I shouldn't be having this problem. So moving forward, it doesn't seem like the problem is that I don't like the product. I love the product, but every time I have to deal with the dealership for service or GM, they're full of crap. And it's getting to the point where I'm starting to resent the company. I like the product, but I'm starting to resent the company because they haven't really been, I don't even know what the word would be. Ethical? I don't know. There's just been scumbags. So despite the fact that I love General Motors, the product, you know, the business practices of the dealership and how they've treated me and how they've tried to snake their way out of warranty on electrical issues has got me to the point where I'm really questioning whether I will ever buy from GM. Not that Toyota's any better, but they're certainly not this bad. I like GM. I want to stick with GM, but the way the dealerships are acting and the way General Motors has been treating me with services has really left a sour taste in my mouth for this company. And it isn't the first time around. I also bought this truck when it first came out. When the 2.7 first came out, I bought the black one, and that one had engine and transmission problems. But now this one has had electrical problems. So this is the second time that I buy a brand new truck from General Motors. I bought a 2020 2.7 Silverado. I really wanted the GM. I like the looks of the GM more than Chevy, but the first time I bought the Silverado, in 2020 with COVID, it was almost impossible to find anything, so I ended up with the Silverado. But this is the one I really wanted. So this is a truck of my dreams. As far as the product goes, it's the product I've always wanted. It's just been dealing with the dealership. It's been dealing with all of their services. And again, a truck with 33,000 miles has already been back 2 times with electrical problems. Well, the second time, they blew me off. So I actually went on YouTube and saw some advice. I fixed it myself and it worked, you know. Sometimes, not to be specific, but something as simple as disconnecting the battery for 5 minutes will reset the computer, and whatever electrical problems you're having will disappear. Now, resetting the battery on a truck like this isn't that simple. There is the 2.7 turbo, and I love the turbo sound, by the way. I love the engine. I love the sound. It actually does pull. Pull pretty good. I know a lot of V8 guys and swear by V8s. I've had V8s and I've had this, and I actually prefer this over the V8s for a lot of reasons. And I know a lot of the V8 guys are not going to be happy, but look at this battery. You have this plastic case. That's the negative port right there. You got this plastic case, which if you were to take it off, you would discover that, you know, I shouldn't have to mess with any of this, because I paid several $1,000s for a 100,000 mile warranty, so I shouldn't have to touch anything. But this is what the positive side of this battery looks like. So this isn't just come in here and no, like, look at this. Look at this crap. I mean, literally, take a look. It isn't just disconnecting a battery to reset this battery. You know, if you go with the negative side, it's a lot easier, but look at this. This is the positive connector to this battery. So I'm paying a lot of money so that the dealership would handle all these types of problems through buying a new truck, through warranties, and every time there's an issue, the dealership always pulls some type of it's your fault, or they lie to you. They're basically very dishonest about their business practices. And it's a little disappointing, to be honest with you. When you pay this much money for all these things, and this is the way that the dealership goes about treating you. I think, you know, if you get the 2500, like the hood, I used to sit on the hood of my 2500, and it was very solid. But I recently sat on the seat or set on the hood, and this all actually folded in. It collapsed. Now somehow it popped back up by itself, but it kind of distorted this line right here a little bit, but it kind of came back into form. So I guess the lesson is, this isn't a 2500 where you can sit on the hood. I know a lot of V8 guys are going to be kind of upset at me, but I do like, I've had 6.0s, I've had 5.3s and 2.7s, and I like the 2.7s more for a lot of reasons, especially if you're not towing. I don't have to tow anything anymore. I do feel like this truck, for those reasons that I'm not towing anymore, I don't need a 5.3 or a 6.0. Not so much that the 2.7 is better on fuel economy, but it's a lighter truck, more easy to maneuver. I like maneuverability and the lightness of this truck. If you get in a 5.3, it feels heavier and stockier. And this kind of, when you're driving it, it feels very lightweight. I think also, I don't know if it's the gear ratio or the engine, but it just flies off the line. It feels very lightweight, and that's why I like the 2.7. I also love the turbo sound, so the driving experience on the 2.7 is much better. And I know a lot of guys are crazy about the V8s, but this thing has 310 horsepower. So, and it actually has, I used to have the 6.0, you know, the 2500, and this actually tows better than a 6.0. Unless you're towing more than 9,000 pounds. In which case, then, you know, at that point, a 2500 makes more sense. But if you're just doing light towing, this tows better, it drives better, it's more lightweight, and the driving experience, I think, on the 2.7 is better than the 5.3 or the 6.0, which feels like you're driving a freaking rock. And while I love those big 6.0 trucks, I will have to admit that the driving experience is like driving a freaking brick down the road. So in 2020, I bought the 2.7 when it first came out. One of the things that I missed the most was the interior design. I don't know why I like this interior so much, but I really do like the interior design, especially this little area right here if you're the passenger. I'm not sure why I like the interior, but I do like this interior design a lot. And if there's one thing I miss about the 2.7 when I bought that Silverado, was the interior. And I like the exterior of the GMC more. So I got the same interior, but now I have a different exterior, which is even better. So even though it's mechanically the same pickup truck, I like this one a lot more. I'm at 33,000 miles, and I've only had electrical issues. Electrical issues could easily be resolved simply by resetting the battery, I believe. But of course, because I paid for those warranties, I didn't want to mess with it. But I'm starting to figure out that GMC just isn't it. Now, I also had a Toyota Camry before I bought this. And the Camry, when it comes to safety and adaptive cruise control, the Camry is like a $30,000 vehicle. This truck is worth twice as much as a Camry, and it has none of the technology that Toyota has. I feel like, being 2 times more money, this truck, if a Camry can have adaptive cruise control, the safety features of the Toyota are so much more superior on the electronical side. Now, on the physical construction side, it's a failure from Toyota, but on the electronical side, they've done a great job at safety. I feel like adaptive cruise control and safety features that come automatic with all Camrys should be superior in a truck that is worth twice as much. That's just my own personal opinion, but I really don't understand why, if a Toyota Camry that's $30,000 can have all those safety features, which are innumerable, that a truck this expensive doesn't have a superior system. And I think that's, again, a failure of General Motors not keeping up with technology that the Toyota, a car that's worth half as much, has really perfected safety features. I think this truck should have adaptive cruise control, and it should have a lot of those blind spot features. I mean, safety features, self-driving features, all that. I feel like these trucks, for the price tag, should have that technology, because Toyota at half the price has it on a Camry. And that's probably one of the few things that I miss about the Camry. other than the fuel efficiency, would be the safety features that I feel a truck this much more expensive should really have it. Now, looking at all this right here, you can see some of the options and stuff. Now they tacked on, so the base price of this vehicle, the way it came, this is the price tag that I should have paid, the standard vehicle price on this truck. However, there's been some interesting upgrades, like for example, what they call the Graphite Edition, which is unlimited data plan. It does have Wi-Fi for 3 years. That's kind of pretty cool. And it does have OnStar, which is absolutely worthless from what I've seen. Remote vehicle start, 20-inch wheels, easy lift power gate, tinted window tints, right? You got window tints in there. You also have your the red paint costs extra money, okay? Your 3:42 ratio, that's the ratio we talked about. Now I should be getting 19 miles to the gallon in 20 highway. That has never happened, and I mean never. I'm getting 16 in city and highway maybe 18 or 19. So these figures have never actually existed for me. So as this truck sits, it's $52,000. But then here comes along 662 Customs, right? Their Connelly Elite package. There's the 1-year paint and fabric. So that means that $2,000, the Connelly Elite package, that's the cat skin seats, right? That's $2,000. And it comes with a 1-year paint and fabric protection, which I currently requested before the year that they came along and fixed it. I'm still waiting for that. It's been a bit. They said they ordered the seats already, so they're supposed to replace the front seats because it's already in bad shape. So the elevation package, they charge $7,000 for it, and it means the custom painted emblems and hood and hooks and all that. So they painted all that. They black out the badges, the 33-inch Toyos with a 2-inch leveling kit, window tints, which is a fraud because the truck already came with window tints, unless they took off the factory tints and added darker tints, question mark. Anyways, that brings the total to $61,000. Add to that I also paid extra money for the extended warranty, brings the price tag of this truck to a grand total of $65,000. Yeah. So would I recommend that you go and buy a $65,000 truck as it sits? Well, here's the thing. If you buy it at the base price, the truck comes with literally nothing. It's bare. And the one that I first bought, you know, when I bought that 2020, it was like that. And I can tell you that there's a few things you absolutely got to have on a truck. For one, this bed cover. The bed liner on the interior, on this thing, it's kind of like, you know, they kind of coated it or something like that. And that's also something I believe you should have. So the other, if you get the bed that's just bare, basically, here's the problem. The factory wheels are not that great. The truck bed on the other truck, it was just bare metal. I mean, practically, if you were to put, let's say, something as simple as a bicycle on your truck bed, it would get destroyed and scratched, and it did on that black truck. So you gotta have the bed liner. That costs, I don't know, costs money. The only thing that I've done, again, is that black lid cover, and again, that's essential as well. But you got the step sides, that costs money, right? You got the bigger wheels and tires, that costs money. The window tints, that costs money. Bed liner, like I said, all those things start to add up. The red paint costs money if you want like to look cool, right? The seats cost color. All that starts to add up. I feel like if you're gonna spend that much money on a truck, like, yeah, you could pay $46,000 and get the base truck, right? You might be even getting it for $45,000, right? But if you pay that $45,000, when you throw in the window tints, when you throw in all the other things you're gonna want, you'll get up in the 50,000s easy, which is what happened with the other truck. The window tints were $430. By the time you look at all that, if you're getting these trucks, I would recommend go ahead and get it the way you want it from the dealership, finance the whole thing, and have the truck the way you want it. You're already paying a lot of money. You might as well get the things you need and want and get it all exactly how you want it from the dealership. So in the case of this truck, there was a few things that I wanted to do, like the truck lid cover that I had to do myself. It didn't come with that. I waited and bought it cash. When these tires are bad, I will eventually get 24s for it, but it's going to happen when the tires are no longer useful and I'm buying new tires. Then I'll buy new tires. I'm going to go with Toyos. I like the brand. They've done really well, but I want to step it up to 24. So when these tires are bad, then I'll get the 24s. And the sound system, we've talked about all the electrical problems. It doesn't make sense, a truck that's plagued with electrical problems, to now add to those problems by installing a sound system. So that's probably not going to happen either, because the truck's already plagued with electrical problems. So what I'm thinking is, when this truck is at 3 years in, when I'm 3 years into this truck, I'll probably break even. In other words, I won't be upside down. 3 years into owning this truck, I won't be upside down. Once I'm not upside down on this truck, I would consider trading it in again for another truck the way I want, because I've owned this truck for 1 year and I've already got 33,000 miles on it. My warranty only goes all the way up to 100,000 miles. Already I've had 2 electrical problems, so chances are, hopefully everything that's going to happen to this truck will happen within that 100,000 miles. So for now, I'm just assuming that once this truck has 100,000 miles and I can break even on what I own, it won't be upside down, I would probably trade it in, because I want everything that I own to be under warranty during the time that I own it, because I'm starting to realize that vehicles have become very expensive and very electronical. And if you have a new vehicle that's under warranty, then at least you don't have to worry about any of that. It caps off what I'm spending without having to consider anything extra. Day to day, this truck is a gorgeous eye catcher. Everywhere this truck goes, people are just amazed by it. They love it. People tell me it's beautiful. I mean, people love the pickup truck. It really is a gorgeous truck, and it catches people's eyes everywhere it goes. I would add to that by getting bigger wheels, but right now it's not going to happen. I owe too much money on it. We'll have to wait until it's time to replace the tires to get those wheels. I would say that after owning this truck for a year, I love it, but I will say that dealing with General Motors and the dealerships has been a nightmare. I believe they've done a horrible job at customer service, and while I love the product, dealing with General Motors has been a nightmare. Next time I buy a pickup truck, it will be from a larger dealership. I also feel that this dealership is too small, and because it's a small dealership, it makes it more frustrating. If they were a larger dealership, it would be better, because every time I go back for something, I have to look at the same faces that told me the same lies last time, and I wish I could just go back to a dealership that was big enough to where I didn't have that problem. Buying from a small dealership might have been a huge mistake. I don't understand why they make it so frustrating, but basically that's been the most discouraging thing. I like the product. It's been dealing with the service, how scummy they are, how scammy they are. They know you got a warranty. They know they need to take care of you, but they always have an excuse. It's always a runaround. And it really is frustrating that they don't want to do their part of the deal. But again, that's the way big corporations are, and that's really the most frustrating thing about dealing with this pickup truck. But I like the truck, and I hope that I can get it paid off. But I know myself really well. Most likely I'm not going to pay it off. Most likely I'll be trading it in once I'm not upside down. And, but it has been a joy to drive and own this pickup truck. If it was a different color, there's just, the way I got this truck set up is just an awesome truck. There's a few extra things I want to do to it to make it look even more bad. But again, everything is money. And as much as I owe on this truck right now, I hope I'm not throwing a single dollar at anything. And that includes my plans for upgrading the sound system. I actually have a great idea, which is kind of crazy. I've considered putting a roof rack on the truck with solar panels and having a completely independent sound system that will be solar powered on a roof rack. So that would mean that in the back of the truck, I would put some batteries and a solar panel on the roof rack, and I would have a sound system for the pickup truck that is completely solar powered. And of course, 100% independent from the truck's electrical system. So the idea would be to have a solar panel on the roof, on a roof rack, and that solar panel with batteries would feed a sound system, and that sound system would be completely independent from the pickup truck, so that I could have a sound system in the pickup truck that does not interfere with any of the pickup truck's electronics. It'll be 100% independent. That way, it wouldn't destroy my warranty with electrical issues, because what's happening with GM is if I put a sound system in here, when something breaks, they're going to say it's because of the sound system. When it has another electrical nightmare, they're going to say it's my fault. Oh, you've installed the sound system, so it's your fault. So I've considered, just since they've been so horrible at warranty, putting a sound system that's completely solar powered and independent from the car's electrical grid, so that I can have a sound system in here that's solar powered, and it will not affect my warranty because it'll be completely independent from the pickup truck's entire electrical grid. I'm not sure about how the ground would work. I guess the battery would ground itself independently. I would have to figure all that out. But the idea would be to have a completely independent sound system that has nothing to do with the pickup truck's electricals, so that I can have this crazy sound system, but that it doesn't interfere with anything that is electrical with this pickup truck, so that I can have the sound system and not have them tell me when something breaks, again, electrical, that it's my fault because I installed the sound system.